Hello, today I will continue to tell you about a Vietnamese legend that explains how the ancient Vietnamese understood and dealt with the phenomenon of flooding. This is the legend of Sun Ting and Thủy Ting. Let's get started. During the reign of the 18th Hung King, the king had a daughter who had reached marriageable age. The princess possessed extraordinary beauty, fair and smooth skin, and a tall and graceful figure. Her name was Mi Nung. Seeing that his daughter was of age, the king issued a proclamation to find a worthy husband for her. Upon hearing the king's proclamation, the king of Teo brought a great amount of gold, silver, and jewels, including golden betel nuts and silver areca, to propose marriage to Mi Nung. King Hung immediately summoned all his Lakho advisors to the palace for counsel. The Lakho advised, "The king of Teo is a very fierce and aged man with a peculiar appearance. How could he possibly be a suitable match for our princess?" Listening to the advice of his Lakho, King Hung declined the marriage proposal from the king of Teo. From that day, the relationship between Vân Lang and Teo soured, creating irreconcilable enmity. Sometime later, two young men came to propose marriage to Princess Mi Nung. Both were exceptionally talented and handsome. One was Sun Tin, the mountain god, also known as Saint Tan Vien, and the other was Thuy Tin, the water god, or the god of the sea. King Hung summoned both men to the court to demonstrate their abilities, declaring that whoever showed greater skill would win his daughter's hand in marriage. Sun Tin demonstrated first, showing his power to create vast forests and flocks of birds with a mere gesture. Thuy Tin then displayed his ability to raise water levels with a wave of his hand, summoning schools of fish and turtles to the surface. Both young men were equally skilled, leaving King Hung unable to decide between them. To determine the winner, the king set a new challenge, stating, "You are both very talented and evenly matched. Therefore, I cannot choose between you. Tomorrow, whoever brings 100 trays of sticky rice, 100 bundles of ban chung, square glutinous rice cakes, 9 tusked elephants, 9 spurred cocks, and 9 red-maned horses in pairs will marry my daughter." Although the king claimed he could not choose, the required gifts were all land-based, subtly indicating his preference for Sun Tin. The next morning, as the sky just began to lighten, Sun Tin arrived at the palace with the complete bridal gifts. Being the mountain god, these items were easy for him to gather. King Hung, pleased with Sun Tin's display, granted him permission to marry Mi Nung. Thuy Tin, having found it difficult to obtain the gifts, arrived later. He was devastated to learn that Mi Nung had already left with her new husband, Sun Tin. Enraged, Thuy Tin gathered his forces to pursue and fight Sun Tin, vowing to reclaim Mi Nung. Thuy Tin unleashed storms, raising the sea levels and causing floods that inundated fields and homes. The people of Vân Lang united to assist Sun Tin, with the sacred bronze drum spirits urging them on. The able-bodied built dikes to combat the floodwaters, leading to the creation of modern flood control dikes in Vietnam. Facing this situation, Sun Tin remained unshaken. He used his magic to lift hills and move mountains, creating a solid wall to block the floodwaters of his opponent. As Thuy Tin's floodwaters rose higher, Sun Tin's mountains grew equally tall. Sun Tin's army hurled large and small rocks at Thuy Tin's forces in the water, causing countless deaths. The corpses of fish, sea monsters, and turtles floated, covering the water's surface. Every time Thuy Tin raised the water once, Sun Tin would raise the mountains and earth equally high. When Thuy Tin raised the water twice, Sun Tin built his mountains twice as high. During the third wave, as Thuy Tin pushed the water up, Sun Tin quickly raised his mountains threefold. This battle is why Tan Vien Mountain was also called Ba Vi in ancient times. The fight between the two lasted for several months. In the end, exhausted, Thuy Tin had to withdraw his forces. From that day on, Sun Tin and Mi Nung lived happily together. However, the enmity between Sun Tin and Thuy Tin grew deeper over time. Each year, around the 7th lunar month, Thuy Tin would remember the old grudge and raise the waters to fight Sun Tin again. Yet each time, Thuy Tin was defeated and had to retreat. The legend of Sun Tin and Thuy Tin is very famous and serves as an ancient Vietnamese explanation for the phenomenon of flooding and methods of flood control in the country. The story ends here. How do you feel about it? Please leave your comments below the video and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to give me more motivation to share more interesting stories. And now, goodbye, and see you in the next video.